Welcome along to the Yorkshire Voice podcast. I'm your host, Eric, and today I'm joined by Tilly, Abby, and Bo. Today is National Drinking Wine Day. The UK is a nation of wine drinkers, with white wine being the country's most popular alcoholic drink. Lewis Edwards from substance support charity Forward Leeds has spoken with our reporter, Evan Witten.
Why do you think that there's maybe less of a culture of drinking among young people now than there was, say, 10, 15 years ago?
Partly the price of alcohol has been going up. So we know that people are sort of drinking less, or at least drinking less outside. So tend to drink more at home and pre-drink. Also, I think social media, like sort of people being more aware of how alcohol makes them look and how it makes them behave when they're sort of being recorded and things like that. Probably, unfortunately, kind of like more availability of substances and reduced prices of substances, to be honest.
Despite the decreasing statistics in terms of the number of young people that are going out drinking, can you speak to any of the issues, like the lingering issues that you and your organisation run into in terms of problems with young people and alcohol?
Those who are using alcohol to a problematic level, maybe the numbers haven't necessarily declined so much. I'm not really exactly sure of the numbers, but I think maybe the general binge drinking levels have decreased. But I think the sort of people using alcohol as a coping mechanism or being dependent drinkers, that's probably maintained at the same level, really.
Why do you think that some people still need to use binge drinking as that cope? Do you think obviously there's personal issues from person to person, but do you think there's a societal reason as well, maybe?
Alcohol is the sort of consented drug of Britain. Alcohol is the number one killer of males from 14 to 45 in all categories. It doesn't really make sense that it's so accepted, but the advertising, the culture of it, the way we speak about it, the way we relate it to sort of music events, the way that we relate it to sporting events, the way that we relate it to sort of celebration, is kind of absolutely ingrained in every part of our culture in Britain, and it's promoted to be like that kind of thing, whereas we don't do that with other substances.
In what way do you think days like Drink Wine Day, days like that can be problematic?
It's like a double-edged sword in a way, because obviously we understand that people want to relax, they want to enjoy like a small amount of alcohol, and there's nothing wrong with that, but it also contributes more to this normalization of drinking, this sort of celebration of drinking. When you sort of normalize a phrase like wine day, you can kind of then end up using it at any other point in the year when you sort of feel like using it as an expression kind of thing to sort of like justify that behavior as well.
So is there anything more that you think people or the government can do to like safeguard or prevent against potential development of alcohol issues?
We need to speak more honestly and more openly about the harms of alcohol, speak of it in the same way that we speak of substances, kind of thing, that there isn't really a healthy amount. There's just a level of risk that people accept. We don't speak of it as the number one killer for 18 to 45-year-olds in the male population. What people want to do with alcohol after that is up to them, but as long as the truth of it's there, unaffected by the marketing of the alcohol companies and all this kind of thing as well.
What would be your top piece of advice for young people who are struggling with alcohol issues? What would your advice to them be?
Don't be ashamed, don't be worried. Reach out to an organisation like ours. Even if you're not sure sort of what your level is, it's always worth having a chat to get some harm reduction advice. But also to know that it's not an impossible task to beat. There's lots of support, there's lots of other things that you can be doing, there's lots of sort of sober social activities. There's kind of a cultural shift away from alcohol as well, so it's kind of a good time to seek help and to make changes.
Now, from another angle, Tilly and Bo went to speak to Simon, the owner of Once Upon a Vine, which is an independent wine retailer in Horsforth.
Running an independent business, it's great fun. We get loads of flexibility. I've worked for some of the multiples in the past. I spent 10 years working for Majestic Wines, and that's good fun. It's quite nice not having the stress and the pressure of having the kind of financial, having everything to do with the business. You can just sort of turn up, do your job, go home. But running your own business, a bit different, but it gives me so much more freedom and opportunity to stock the wines I want to do, host the tastings I want to put on, and just be a bit freer with how I do things on social media, that kind of thing. Almost no constraints. It's the creativity and the freedom that's the really good thing. I suppose one of the frustrations is lots of people do sort of jump to the assumption that the supermarkets are a lot cheaper than going to an independent wine merchant, which is not actually always the case, surprisingly. But yeah, that's one of the crosses we have to bear, and try to convince people that, you know, it can be quite scary coming into a wine shop. I remember the first time I went into a wine shop before I was really interested in wine. I thought, oh, they're going to talk to me about things I don't understand. They're going to embarrass me. So getting people to take that leap of faith, just to open the door, walk in. You know, once they're in here, we're very friendly. We don't patronize people. We don't try and sell stuff to people. Of course, we're here to sell things, but we just want, if they go home with a nice bottle, they'll come back. That's the way we approach things. So yeah, I think the key thing really, comparing working for a big company versus running your own small business, is that freedom and the chance to be able to just sort of offer your customers what you like and what you think they might like, not just try and flog them something that head office tells you need to sell them. So I think more broadly across the UK, it's kind of it does vary from one place to the next. Like here in Horsforth, it's quite an affluent area. We get lots of people that holiday in sort of Italy, in France, over in sort of North America. So we tend to sell quite a lot of wines that reflect that. People want to buy wines that they have when they're on holiday, or that they're going to have when they do go on holiday. So Italy is big for us, North America. Some of the classics as well. You'll see Bordeaux, Burgundy, the kind of real old school kind of, you can imagine the old boys, you know, past the port to the left kind of thing. You know, they like, the red trouser brigade, as we call them in the wine trade. They like their kind of white wines from Burgundy, the red wines from Bordeaux, and that's it. You know, that's how they were brought up. That's what they'll drink till they die, and that's it. They're not willing to change and try new stuff. But actually, yeah, things do change quite a bit, and there's always new stuff to try as well.
Do you think people should do anything for National Drink Wine Day?
Well, I think the clue there is in the name. So yeah, I mean, certainly beginning of the week, I think most people, or lots of people, certainly at this time of the year, after Christmas and everything, they've got past dry January, but they're still maybe abstaining midweek and trying to stick to, just drink at weekends, that kind of thing. But I think raise a glass. Why not? Open something fizzy. Yeah, just open a bottle of fizz. Just enjoy it with friends. And yeah, I think that's a more healthy way of doing things than just saying I'm not drinking all week, being miserable, and then just getting sloshed at the weekend. There's plenty of really good wine saving things. If you stick a bottle of wine, even red wine, in the fridge, it'll keep fresh for like 3-4 days. So actually, you don't have to worry about opening a bottle and having to drink it all on the same night. Just open it, pour a glass, put the cork back in, stick it in the fridge, whether it's red or white or rosé or fizzy. And it'll still be fine 2-3 days later. Yeah, just do that. Just have that with your have a glass of wine with your dinner each night. Happy days.
So what do we think of that, guys? Are we happy for International Wine Day? We all hyped up?
I say we say cheers to National Wine Day.
Me too, I agree. I think it's, I think it depends on people's individual relationships with alcohol. I think a lot of people can just enjoy wine for one day. With people want to enjoy wine every day. Varies.
But it's great there's a charity set up to support people and also educate them on their limits and everything.
Yeah, I think as long as people are getting enjoyment out of it, why not have some wine? Might as well. Tastes nice. Get some Echo Falls.
Yeah.
Wine.
We'll go down to this cellar.
Once Upon a Vine.
Yeah. Once Upon a Vine.
Oh,
we recommend.
Nice. Everyone, if anyone watching, go to the wine, get your wine, drink up. Meanwhile, in West Yorkshire, police have provided an update on a suspicious item found in Leeds yesterday. Our reporter Evan has more.
At 2:24 p.m. yesterday, police received a report that an item had been left on Merrion Way, Leeds. A cordon and road closures were then put in place. Army bomb disposal experts assessed the item and gave the all clear shortly after 6 p.m. The cordon has now been lifted.
Meanwhile, the government has been awarded £10 million to restore a Victorian mill in Leeds to turn it into a British library. The government has awarded £10 million to the project of restoring the grade-listed Temple Works building in the Holbeck area of the city. However, the Treasury said it was minded to withdraw from the scheme in a bid to make government savings. The funding money has now been confirmed. The Temple Works building has been empty for 20 years. Meanwhile, underdogs Bradford City look to take on high-flying Birmingham in the EFL Trophy semi-final this evening. Despite having 3 wins in their last 5, Bradford face an uphill battle against a free-scoring Birmingham side, with danger man Jay Stansfield netting 3 times in the last 4 appearances. Bradford's manager, Graham Alexander, spoke to the press earlier to discuss this fixture.
Graham, good to see you again. 1 win away from Wembley. Let's start there. How much are you looking forward to tomorrow night?
Yeah, a lot, because I think it's exciting. I think it's rewarding for the players in the journey so far in this competition. We obviously got to this stage last season and probably put on one of our best performances of that campaign, but unfortunately fell at the final hurdle to the final. But it's another opportunity for us. It's a tough game, as tough as you're going to get in this competition probably. But I think the players are in a good place mentally. I think they're good physically. And we'll go there and play our way.
I was about to ask you that question. What's the best way to approach a game like that tomorrow and the level of opposition?
I think in any game of football, look, there's always going to be little tactical tweaks you might have to make to your general normal game plan. But I think for your best opportunity to create your best performance, you have to practice it over and over and over again and tweak it and improve it. But if you keep chopping and changing week to week from different opposition, then I don't think you're going to get that consistency, that fluidity, the knowledge of your game to be able to improve little things that need improving. So for me, I think we've been reasonably consistent all season in how we approach games, unless we go down 10 men when it had to change a little bit. But I trust my players. I want them to go out and perform to the best of their capabilities and see where it takes us. That would be me as a content coach, looking at his team, going out and playing their game. And
that approach, has that been at the heart of your progression in this competition, certainly the knockout stages and the level of opposition that you faced?
I believe so, yeah, but even at the start of the competition, because obviously there's different teams, as in from outside the EFL, the under-21s teams, and this general talk, I would say, around the game, how important that competition is. We always take it, every game, seriously. We don't approach any game right in the first game of the group. We're still at it. We're still aggressive. We rotate the team around, and it's how we found our way to the semi-final stage in both seasons, because we take every game as the most important game we've got, because it's the next one and it's a chance for us to play our football, and there's always supporters there. So if we don't play for them at least, then what are we doing?
In terms of, well, you mentioned Wycombe. I know you're not one to dwell on the past, but can that be a motivating factor of wanting to go one better?
And I don't think a motivating factor. I think it's a learning experience. I think it's good for the players to experience these types of games, the knockout, being so close to a cup final. I think it's, my reference point is the more these types of games are played, the more comfortable I felt in them, the more focused I became in what was actually important and what wasn't. So I just think the more the players can experience these types of games, I think they just become, if you're intelligent enough as a player and as in a coaching staff to understand it, I think you get better from those experiences, whether you win or you lose. I think you get something from it. So for me, I don't really, talking about the earlier rounds, I don't see a difference in our team when we go into a game where they're not motivated for any opponent or any round or home or away. I think our group of players are always motivated. That's why I talked so highly about the practice game we had last Wednesday, because if you'd have looked at it, if you watched it, it was like, what's on this game? It was so intense and the motivation was there. So for me, we've tried over time to build up that consistency of mindset that every time we put our boots on, every time we put the kit on, we're there to win.
Yeah, so guys, it's a big game, Birmingham Bradford. trip to Wembley. Very exciting for both sets of fans. So who do we think's going to win?
Should we say Bradford to be local?
Yeah, go on.
Go on, Bradford.
Go on, Bradford.
I mean, literally anything could happen. So let's see what happens on the day.
Yeah, Bradford, they've been underdogs before. They beat Chelsea in 4-2 recently. So, there's always a chance. But any idea on the scores? I'm going to say 2-1 Bradford.
Oh, I'm going to say 1-1. I'm going to make it a bit stingy.
I'm going to go 3-1 Bradford, be a bit out there.
Wow.
Be a bit outrageous.
3-1 Bradford. That'd be some happy fans. Happy fans. I'm sure they'd be having wine.
They'd be celebrating for sure.
I know, they'll whip out the wine. Right. Meanwhile, Abbey House Museum have recently opened a new exhibition called Storytime. This is where centuries of children's literature and games comes to life in a captivating display. From the 1800s tales to modern classics, this magical showcase invites visitors of all ages to rediscover their joy of storytelling and imagination. There will also be displays of games and toys such as the Teletubbies and the Wombles. Among the games, a jigsaw puzzle was rescued from a bin by a former company employee and is now the exhibition. The Storytime exhibition is open for the public from the 18th to the 24th of February. So everyone, what's your favourite book? Mine's Lord of the Rings. My dad read it to me when I was younger, and it's like the only book I've read. So might as well go that
I used to love these books about mice, and they were people, but they were mice, and it was like a mystery book, and you'd have to solve the mystery as you read it and went along. But I cannot remember what they're called. Something Stilton. But I loved it.
Never heard of this. I used to like
Jeremiah Stilton or something. I have no clue, but it was my jam.
I used to like the Rainbow Magic books.
Oh, the Rainbow Fairies, yeah.
Yeah, that was
I didn't have a fairy because my name's weird.
I did. Mine was just the
Depressing.
teacher fairy, and it was quite boring, to be honest. I was quite upset with that one.
In my childhood, I started out with the Rainbow Magic books as well. Then I hit young teens, and it was the Tom Gates books. Now I've hit adulthood, and it's things like Bridge of Souls, all to do with like ghosts and stuff like that. And also I'm reading a book currently, or trying to, about the American Revolution.
Well, that sounds good. Everyone's got good choices. I was obviously, not good enough to read those like fairy books everyone was on about. But,
Did you read Beast Quest though?
Oh yeah, I love Beast Quest.
Beast Quest was like the equivalent.
They made hundreds as well.
Yeah, that was the same with the Rainbow Fairies. That was the boy equivalent.
Maybe I have to get back reading them then.
I think a whole generation got shaped by Jacqueline Wilson books. Personally,
Oh,
I think
we were victimised.
Yeah, we heard some interesting topics at a young age through them books, but
they were very outlandish.
they're very memorable. I think that's one that most
Big up
people remember.
Jacqueline.
Oh, yeah. Big respect to her. I'm glad she's educating the
She
kids.
was pushing the
She's still
boundaries.
going. She's still
for children.
going. She's been at it for about 40 years.
I think
now.
she's admitted that they're actually for adults.
Doesn't surprise me.
No.
Anyway, a vote has been opened for the public to crown the UK's most heroic dog at the Crufts Awards, a blood donor dog which saved the lives of more than 168 fellow canines and an English setter cross who embarked on a 7-month hike alongside his grieving owner, are among the candidates for the Heroic Dog Award. The nominees include an 8-year-old Gordon setter named Sharwood, who broke records by giving more than 40 donations, 22.5 kilos of blood to the Pet Blood Bank for critically ill or injured pets in need. Also nominated is heroic police dog Baloo, who suffered a leg amputation in 2018 after she was hit by a suspect's car fleeing a crime scene. Baloo retired with Mandy Chapman, a former police dog handler, who later took her to see team at Essex Police who were affected by the incident. The pair went on to support the launch of the I Oscar Kilo Wellbeing and Trauma Support Dog Service, which now counts more than 250 support dogs across the UK. So what's our favourite dog, guys? Got a favourite dog breed? Some heroic and cool dogs?
One of them has my name, so I want that one to win. It got rescued from a bin, and it looked after, I think it was an autistic boy or girl, I think. Maybe wrong. But the dog did a lot of stuff to say how it started off.
It's quite impressive. It's quite mad. All these dogs can do like everything. They're like, who needs people at this point? Just get the dog to do it.
I like the police dog, me. I think police dogs need a lot of respect. They do jobs for free.
I like the breeds that are more not frowned upon as such, but they have like bad reputation. So obviously I used to have a Staffordshire Bull Terrier, Roxy, R.I.P. But people, especially I've had my aunties and stuff be scared to like sit with her just because she was a staffing. It's like she's been raised and trained in a good home. It's nothing to do with the dogs, it's the owners. So I always root for the more, the underdogs. Dogs.
Yeah, that was great fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just like a dog that gets me outside and like walking everywhere. Like I had a husky and then, I had to walk him like hours a day. So, it's just free exercise having a dog, really. That's my take on it. Physical photos are making a comeback thanks to Gen Z. Research by holiday park company Haven says 43% of 18 to 27-year-olds print pictures 4 times a year, compared to 5% of those aged 60 and over. The typical adult has nearly 1,600 photos on their phone, with millennials having almost 2,500. The Miffy exhibition has come to Leeds to celebrate their 70th birthday and will be on the 7th September 2025. Miffy was born on 21st of June 1955 and was created by Dutch artist Dick Browner, and the main function of it was to entertain his son on his seaside holiday. The exhibition will include activities based on Miffy. No tickets are needed as the expedition is free. Weatherby's is decorating in Christmas decorations for the festive film called Tinseltown, starring Danny Dyer, Kira Sunderland and Rebel Wilson. The filming has already started in Knaresborough last week and will be taking place this month around West Yorkshire. The film is set to be released on Sky later this year. So excited for the movie, guys? Gonna go watch it? Sounds great.
Tinseltown.
Yeah. It's got Danny Dyer. I like
That's
him.
a very weird
Is it
combination.
I'm assuming it's Christmas themed.
Danny Dyer and
That's what
Rebel Wilson. That's a bit of a odd mix.
No, she's quite.
She's not that bad. She's overhated, I think.
I loved her in Pitch Perfect.
No, I love them.
I mean, they're filming outside my cousin's pub restaurant called the Black Bull. It's literally decorated all Christmassy for it. So
You're gonna have
I
to
can
get some
imagine.
shots.
I can imagine it's going to be absolutely crazy.
Wow. So yeah, sounds great. I'm going to have to watch it when it comes out, obviously. A reimagination of William Shakespeare's play, The Merchant of Venice, is coming back to Leeds Playhouse tonight. The play is intended to be a comedy surrounding financial struggles, love, prejudice, and social justice. It stars former EastEnders actress Tracy Oberman as Shylock. The show runs until 22nd of February. We look forward to do we like Shakespeare? Anyone a Shakespeare fan?
No.
Did them in school?
I performed Shakespeare in a school play once, a couple of times in Carriage Works. That was pretty cool.
Oh, wow.
So I bet they're all like excited but nervous to perform.
I
Yeah,
swear
it's
the
too
woman who
complicated
does
for me.
Friday night. Dinner.
Yeah, it's Auntie Val.
Jackie's, Val.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I can't stand Shakespeare, I'll be honest with you. I just think it's completely... I preserve history and all that, but it's just completely different times, completely different language. You're just watching it thinking, what's going on? So I feel like to carry on the art and to make, I don't know, like a younger generation, our generation, enjoy it more, I feel like there needs to be adaptations, because I know when I was studying
There
it in
is though
school,
the 1996 Romeo and Juliet. That's
yeah,
a
that's a
classic.
lot better.
I
Exactly,
love
with
that.
Leonardo DiCaprio.
Bit of Young Hearts Run Free. Go on. But yeah,
I just think, I think
we need more of that.
it's lost on people because they don't know what it's talking about, so they just don't bother engaging.
I feel like Shakespeare as well. So I had to read Romeo and Juliet, didn't mind it. But then I had to do Othello in A-level English. And I was like, this is literally Romeo and Juliet all over again.
Yeah.
But I did enjoy going through the history and that of it and researching about the
Yeah, that's
Jacobean period.
Yeah, I
and
did the
stuff.
Merchant of Venice
Yeah.
for A-level, and that's like got history, obviously, because it's about like Venice, which is
Yeah.
a real place, and it was about a real person.
Even though
so-
it's like writing, I don't know, it might bore people. I like the history behind.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe they just need to like update them like they have with the Leonardo DiCaprio one in the new movie. But
Yeah.
Shakespeare's really fun from like a performer's point of view as well. It's not necessarily the words that you're doing with it, it's how you portray it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've got the freedom because no one knows what he's on about. So
I think it's lost on people because you study it in English half the time, so you don't see the actual performance, you're just reading
yeah,
and you don't get the emotion.
I feel like we need to watch the plays more in schools.
I agree.
I think
think
that'd be a
people
great
would like
time.
it more.
I think you'd be more of a Shakespeare fan.
I'd love him. I'd love him.
You love Shakespeare.
right, I'm sure I'll go tell Shakespeare he needs to improve on a
Yeah.
couple
Yeah,
of his
sort him out.
real words. Anyway, that's all we have time for on the Yorkshire Voice podcast. Make sure you like and subscribe and leave us a 5-star Apple and Spotify review. See you next time.
Bye.
Bye.